There are ancient stories that have been passed down for thousands of years, and one of them is the extraordinary journey of Moses, the child who nearly lost his life at birth. Moses was born at the harshest moment when a powerful king in Egypt issued commands that forced many families to live in fear. To protect her beloved son, the mother did something unimaginable. She placed the child in a small basket, set him afloat on the Nile, entrusting his fate to the waters. Yet the story did not end there. That little basket drifted toward the palace where the king's wife herself saw the baby, and from that moment, love changed everything. The child of Israel, thought unable to survive, was raised right inside the palace of Egypt, the very heart of power of the one who sought to destroy him. This was the beginning of one of the most dramatic and symbolic stories in the history of religion and human culture. And if you are wondering, how could a child abandoned on the river become the one to challenge a mighty empire? This is the journey we are about to explore together. Now, imagine Egypt more than 3,000 years ago. Vast desert, towering pyramids, and a dynasty where power was concentrated in one man, Pharaoh. This man did not only see himself as king, he claimed divine qualities, and every command he gave became law none dared oppose. Under that power lived the Bani Israel, a community forced into hard labor. Their sighs were swept away by the desert winds, unheard by anyone. Yet even in the darkest years, a rumor spread. A child will be born from among Israel, and he will shake Pharaoh's throne. Hearing this, Pharaoh laughed with contempt. To him, it was only the invention of the weak clinging to a fragile hope. But one night, a strange dream came. Pharaoh saw from Jerusalem a red flame rising, spreading and burning every Egyptian house. Strangely, the small tents of the Israelites remained untouched, the fire never reaching them. Pharaoh awoke trembling, heart pounding. He summoned all the priests and greatest magicians, demanding the meaning of this ominous dream. After listening, they all gave an answer that silenced the court. A boy will be born from Israel, and when grown, he will shake Egypt. The interpretation struck like a cold blade, shaking Pharaoh. Fear of losing his throne became an obsession, and he resolved to act. A cruel decree was issued. Every Israelite boy born must be destroyed so that the prophecy would never be fulfilled. As time passed, this policy plunged the whole Israelite community into terror, while the court faced a new problem. The advisors realized, if all boys were gone, soon Egypt would lack laborers for fields and great works. They proposed to Pharaoh a change. 1 year harsh, the next lenient, then harsh again, alternating to keep control while maintaining labor. Pharaoh agreed. And from then on, the law was enforced in cycles. 1 year fragile lives, 1 year spared. In such a spared year, an Israelite child was born, Aaron, the brother of Moses. But the very next year, when the law grew harsh again, another boy was born. His name was Moses. That was the moment destiny began to turn. A small child, born in danger, yet carrying within him a great mission none could foresee. In the heavy shadow of the decree, a young mother held her newborn tightly in her arms. She knew one glance from the guards could take his life. In despair, she felt compelled by a powerful faith. Place him in a basket, set him on the river, and he will return to you. A small basket was prepared, lined with soft straw. The child laid inside and gently pushed onto the flowing Nile. She stood silently on the bank, eyes brimming with tears, watching the basket fade among the reeds, torn between fear and hope. The river carried this basket, and fate chose a strange resting place near the garden of Pharaoh's palace. The servants discovered the basket, opened it, and were astonished. Inside lay a beautiful baby, sleeping soundly. The news was brought to Queen Asiya. The moment she saw the child, her heart trembled. A woman longing for a child exclaimed, "Let him stay, let me take him as my son." At his wife's insistence, Pharaoh had to agree. And so the bitter irony began. The very child he feared most was raised in his own palace. Yet raising a child was not simple. Moses needed milk, but strangely he refused every nurse in the palace. At that moment, Moses' sister, secretly watching from afar, stepped forward, cleverly suggesting, "I know someone who can nurse the baby." That someone was Moses' mother. Miraculously, she was brought into the palace, holding her baby again, nursing him safely in the very place thought most dangerous. The years passed. Moses grew strong and wise. He lived as an Egyptian prince, yet in his veins ran the blood of an oppressed people. And this dual identity, both of the palace and of Israel, planted the seeds of coming upheaval. Many years passed. Moses matured in the palace. He learned manners, Egyptian knowledge, yet his heart leaned toward Israel suffering in slavery outside. One day, while walking through the city, Moses witnessed a scene he could not ignore. A weak Israelite being oppressed by a strong Egyptian. The Israelite looked to Moses for help. Fire rose in his blood, and Moses rushed to intervene. In the struggle, one blow unintentionally struck down the Egyptian, who never rose again. Moses froze in shock. He realized he had done something grave, though unintended. He quickly fled the scene, praying silently for forgiveness for this unintentional mistake. But the matter did not end. The next day, Moses saw the same Israelite quarreling again with another. Moses approached, rebuking, "Why do you always stir up strife? I see you are a quarrelsome man." The Israelite unexpectedly retorted, "Will you kill me as you did the Egyptian yesterday?" The words rang out among the crowd. Many Egyptians heard, and news quickly spread through the city. At once, the court convened an urgent meeting. The officials agreed. Moses must be held accountable for the Egyptian's death. Before the sentence could be carried out, a loyal man came to Moses and whispered, "They are plotting to kill you. Leave at once before it is too late." When Moses heard this, his heart pounded. Without time to prepare provisions, he fled Egypt that very night. The vast desert lay before him. By day he hid, by night he trudged barefoot across the burning sand. Hungry, thirsty, exhausted, yet fear of Pharaoh's soldiers pursuing him drove Moses onward without rest. After many days and nights, he drew near to the land of Midian, a distant region between Egypt and Syria. There, beside a well, Moses saw a strange scene. Many men crowded around, while two young women stood back, unable to move the heavy stone covering the well. Seeing this, Moses stepped forward to help. With extraordinary strength, he rolled the stone away alone, opening the way for cool water to flow. The two young women thanked him gratefully, quickly watered their flock, and returned home filled with wonder. Moses remained beneath a tree, utterly weary after days of flight. He prayed softly, asking for guidance and shelter. Not long after, one of the two young women returned, inviting him to meet their father, an elderly man. In the warm home, Moses recounted his whole journey, why he left Egypt and what he had endured. The kind father listened attentively, then offered, "You have helped my family. Stay here. Work 8 years or 10 if you wish. In return, I will give you one of my daughters in marriage." Moses accepted. After so many days of fleeing, at last he found a home, a family, and temporary peace. Thus, from a wandering traveler in the desert, Moses became a son-in-law in a Midian household. But this time was preparing him for the great mission ahead. From the moment he agreed to remain in Midian, Moses' life turned a new page. No longer fleeing, he found a peaceful home in a distant valley. The days there were quiet yet profound. By day, Moses worked in the fields, tending flocks, sometimes helping the villagers. By night, he gazed at the starry sky, pondering the universe, life, and the purpose of human existence. 8 years, then 10 passed. That time was like an unseen school, training Moses in patience, endurance, and understanding. When his duty was complete, Moses decided to return to Egypt with his family, longing to reunite with his mother and his brother Harun after many years apart. The caravan crossed the vast desert. One cold night, as darkness fell, they stopped at Mount Tur. In the night, Moses saw a light flickering like fire atop the mountain. He said to his family, "Wait here. I will go to bring fire for warmth and light." Step by step up the slope, Moses approached the light. But when he arrived, he saw no flame. Instead, a voice echoed all around. "O Moses, it is I, the Creator, the Lord of all." The voice was deep and warm, filling him with both awe and peace. Moses looked around in wonder. A question came. "What is in your hand?" "It is the staff I use to lean on and to tend the flock." "Cast it down." Moses obeyed. At once the staff moved, becoming a creature that terrified him, so he stepped back. But the voice reassured, "Do not fear, take it up again." When he reached for it, the staff returned to its original form, unchanged. Next, he was told to place his hand inside his cloak, then withdraw it. His hand shone brilliantly like a lamp, and when returned, it became normal again. "These are 2 signs I give you. Return to Egypt with your brother Harun and deliver my message to Pharaoh. They have gone too far, and now the truth must be proclaimed." Moses hesitated. "My speech is not fluent. Let Harun go with me to assist. I have chosen both of you. Be assured I am with you." That night on Mount Sinai, a great mission was given. From a fugitive, Moses became the messenger charged to face the mightiest empire of the age. After leaving Mount Sinai, Moses walked in a new spirit. He was no longer merely a shepherd in exile, but now bore the mission to return to Egypt and confront its most powerful king. Crossing the desert with his wife and children, Moses found his mother and brother Harun. The reunion, after long years, overflowed with joy and tears. That night together, Moses recounted the mission entrusted to him. He believed that he and his brother would stand before Pharaoh bearing the message of the Creator. The day came. Moses and Harun entered the palace under the watchful eyes of soldiers and officials. A heavy silence filled the great hall. Before the throne, Moses spoke boldly, "Let the people of Israel depart from Egypt." Pharaoh leaned back and laughed aloud. "You, who once lived in this palace, now dare return to challenge me." Moses calmly replied, "I only speak the words of the one who created both you and me." These words stirred the court. Pharaoh frowned and commanded, "If true, show a sign as proof." Moses cast down his staff. Instantly, it became a living creature moving across the floor. The crowd gasped in fear and wonder. He withdrew his hand, and it shone with dazzling light, illuminating the hall. Yet Pharaoh still refused to believe. He declared, "This is mere sorcery. I will summon Egypt's greatest magicians to expose him." A day of contest was set. The square overflowed with people eager to witness the battle between Moses and the magicians. The magicians cast their staffs and ropes upon the ground. To the people's eyes, they became writhing serpents, and the crowd roared. Moses released his staff. It became a great serpent, devouring all their illusions. The square fell silent, then erupted in cries. The magicians were astonished, knowing this was no trick. They all bowed, declaring, "We believe in the Lord spoken of by Moses and Harun." Pharaoh raged, but his power began to waver. To the people, Moses was no longer an exile returned, but one who bore power beyond human understanding. From this point, the conflict was no longer between two men, but a battle between arrogance and faith. After that day in the square, Egypt was never the same. The people's hearts stirred while Pharaoh's fury grew ever greater. Moses and Harun continued to come before the king, patiently repeating the message, "Let the people of Israel go." But Pharaoh remained arrogant, refusing again and again. The court trembled, society grew restless, yet he clung tightly to power. According to tradition, many strange events occurred in the land, like warnings. But instead of awakening, Pharaoh only grew more stubborn. At last, Moses received instruction. It was time to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt, in the night, silently and urgently. Under the dim moonlight, each family quietly left their homes, following Moses. A long procession moved toward the seashore, hoping for a way of escape. When the news reached Pharaoh, he immediately mobilized his vast army with mighty chariots, determined to pursue. Before Moses and the people of Israel lay the vast sea. Behind them rose the dust of horses and the shouts of the Egyptian soldiers.
The people panicked. "We are trapped."
Moses, calm and resolute, said, "No, the Creator will open a way for us." He raised his staff and touched the water. Tradition tells that the sea split, two great walls of water standing, revealing a dry path through the deep. The people of Israel rushed in, trembling in awe, hurrying along that miraculous path. The wind roared in their ears while the walls of water loomed as if ready to fall. When the last of the people had crossed, Pharaoh and his army charged into the sea, unwilling to relent. Then the path closed. The sea crashed down in fury, sweeping the entire army away. Religious tradition says that Pharaoh's body was preserved as a sign for future generations, a reminder that human power, no matter how great, cannot match the strength of the Creator. The people of Israel breathed in relief. They had escaped slavery, stepping into a new journey, carrying forever the memory of the sea that opened a way. The story ends not only with victory, but also with a timeless lesson. Arrogance leads to ruin, while faith and perseverance can open paths that seem impossible. The journey from the small basket on the river to the sea that opened is not only a religious story, but also a symbol of the longing for freedom and faith in overcoming adversity. Moses is the image of steadfastness, daring to stand for what is right even when facing the mightiest empire. Pharaoh is the mirror of arrogance, power at its height, yet powerless before the flow of justice and faith. And the parting sea, this is not only a miracle in legend, but also a metaphor. When one holds firm to faith, even the most hopeless roads can be opened. This story, through thousands of years, still stirs hearts. It reminds us that power and wealth are fragile, but moral and spiritual values endure. So, what do you think is the deepest meaning of the story of Moses and Pharaoh? Is it faith, freedom, or humility before the ultimate power? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this journey interesting, don't forget to press like to support. Hit subscribe so you won't miss the next mysterious history religion story, and turn on the bell to get notified of new videos. I really look forward to reading your reflections and perspectives in the comments. Perhaps your suggestions will make the next story even more captivating. For now, goodbye and see you again.